everybody. Just came down, turned the lights on about 20 minutes ago, got everybody fed, and just on the morning, not really head count, but I always go around, make sure all my tanks look okay, make sure nobody had any problems overnight. And I've been watching my Gourami tank, and my Striped Raphael is out and about again. For those of you who have one of these, you know they're very reclusive fish, you hardly ever see them. Mine has been coming out quite a bit lately. I don't know if he's getting too big to find any adequate hiding places anymore, but he went from never being seen. I literally would forget he was in the tank until I'd get a glimpse of him every so often, you know, once a month maybe. But now he actually seems to come out fairly often, and I get to see him quite a bit. Last night, or yesterday evening I should say, my tank was very, very heavily planted. This tiger lotus was huge. I had tons of floating water Sprite. But I came through yesterday, I did a massive grooming, I did a big water change, I got the water all nice and clear. So this was a very dimly lit, dark tank as of yesterday, and my Striped Raphael there probably felt okay, pretty much hanging out anywhere. The bottom of the tank itself was just dimly lit enough that he felt secure. So he was hanging out sort of under the plants and, you know, kind of on the edge of rocks and things like that where I could see him. But now I believe that the tank is so brightly lit and the vegetation has been cut back so much, he's probably feeling a little exposed, a little too much light shining on him, things like that. So he's probably going to be rustling around, looking for some spot to hide until he finally decides where he's going to settle in for the day. And then I won't, you know, he'll just be there for the day. I'll either won't see him because he'll find a hiding place, or he'll find some little spot to hide that I can see him, and he'll just park himself there, and he'll just sit there and not move for the entire day. He won't move again until later tonight when the lights go out. But while he's looking for a spot, I may as well try to get some video of him because he's a really, really cool fish. I like him a lot. I've said before in other videos, I've had several fish over the years that I'll never buy again. It might have been interesting having them, but in the long run, it just wasn't worth it. Some fish wind up being a really big bioload in your tank, and you never get to really even see them or enjoy them. So what's the point in having all that bioload in your tank if you're not even going to ever get to look at the fish? For me, just the satisfaction of knowing it's in there somewhere is not enough. I want to actually enjoy the fish. This Striped Raphael, however, is one that I would recommend. You may not see it much, but when you do, it's just a really neat fish. It's one of the smaller catfish. They only get about, I've read anything from 5 to 9 inches, but I hear people telling me they get bigger. I personally have never seen one, and I've looked and looked and looked on YouTube trying to find the biggest one I could find just to give myself an idea what I was in for. And maybe half again bigger than what we're looking at now is as big as I've ever seen one. So I'm not too worried about him getting huge. But keep that in mind, they are a thick, you know, wide-bodied fish, so even at 6 or 7 inches, they do present quite a bioload. This is not a fish for a, you know, a 20 long or a 30-gallon tank or something. I would recommend probably at least a 40 or bigger if you wanted to keep this kind of fish. And they don't have huge mouths. They're not the kind of catfish that's going to make your smaller fish in your tank disappear. Really tiny fish, maybe like little young neons or something like that, but I would imagine by the time a neon even is full grown, or like a mountain minnow or something like that, I would imagine they'd be safe from this catfish. He's not a big mouthed catfish. He's a bottom feeder, like most cats, but when you get the glimpse of his mouth there, you can see he's clearly not one of those cats like my Eclipse catfish, or I actually have a couple of, see if we can see one. They hide under here. I have a couple of bumblebee jellycats, and when you look at them, the whole front of the fish opens up as a mouth. It just becomes a tube that little fish can go disappear in. The Striped Raphael does not have that kind of mouth. He has a smaller downward-facing mouth, clearly designed for picking little bits of stuff off the bottom and not for inhaling fish. So he is a good fish to consider if you're looking for a somewhat larger catfish that is not going to be a huge and immediate threat to your smaller fish in your tank. So that's something worth noting, I think. They do make these with the spotted paint job instead of the striped paint job. That one is appropriately called the Spotted Raphael instead of the Striped Raphael. Same basic fish as far as I know, same care parameters and everything. Again, I usually don't give care parameters because it's too easy to get, you know, my stuff confused with all the animals I have. There's plenty of good, valuable, valid information online as far as looking up the husbandry of these animals and what their care parameters are and things like that. So do a simple Google search on Striped Raphael. You'll get more than the information you need as far as water parameters and how you need to keep them. I am just trying to give you a look at what it's going to look like in your tank and a little of my personal experience and thoughts with it. All in all, fantastic fish. I would definitely recommend it if you like catfish and if you don't mind a slightly more reclusive fish. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a video, or maybe not. Let's see if we can get him. Thought he was kind of settling in for a minute there. Now what he normally does is he goes down. I'll show you in a minute once he stops moving. Don't want to miss any good action while he's swimming around. But he's got a spot at the other end of the tank that he parks himself, and he's been sleeping there for during the day for the last several weeks. And I'm guessing, again, since I did so much plant grooming yesterday and got so much stuff out of the tank, it's just not suited to his reclusive lifestyle anymore, or his nocturnal lifestyle. But he's been taking to lying right in here. Right where that little Odo is. He swims up from below, up through the vegetation, and then he just lets himself drift back down, and he just sort of wedges himself in the plant there and sleeps all day. So that apparently is not going to be his hiding spot anymore. Maybe he's going to try this cave. Maybe he's going to try that cave. He'll find a spot sooner or later and settle in. So I think 6 minutes is enough to get a good enough look at him. So, we're almost at 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a video. That is my Gourami tank. I have lots and lots of fish tanks and fish, so go ahead and subscribe to my channel now. You won't miss any updates, and you won't miss any of my fish. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you real soon.